let's talk about hijacking a confrontation. Now, what do we mean by that? Well, have you ever had this experience? You call somebody or you sit down with somebody and say, I just want to talk about something. Um, when you do A or B, or when you did A or B, or this particular thing, I want to talk to you about it because it really was difficult for me and it hurt me. And I want to address this. And so this doesn't happen anymore, or so we can be closer, or whatever it is, the reason we're having this confrontation. And that's what you want to talk about. You want to talk about the other person's behavior. Well, at some point, generally, maybe not that long thereafter, you find yourself going, what happened? We're not even anywhere close to talking about the topic that I brought up, which is actually you and your behavior is what I was trying to bring up. And now we're talking about, how do we get to talking about me? Well, let me give you an example of how that happens. I mean, you see this in business scenarios a lot. You say you call over to another department and you say, hey, can you send me those reports? We were waiting on them. Well, no, I can't because you didn't give me the information that I needed. I go, well, that was a month ago. Yeah, but still, I mean, you could have followed up. And if you had followed up, so you guys do this all the time. And all of a sudden, we're not talking about the person that we're bringing an issue up with anymore. Now we're talking about you. It is called shoot the messenger. You're giving a message. Oh, look, you're just the delivery person here. It's like my poor mailman. Every time he shows up, there's this big Doberman that goes to the door. It looks like she's going to eat him. Now, she's not going to eat him, but it looks like all he's doing is delivering the mail, And all of a sudden, poor guy, I feel sorry for him. But Finley's a sweetheart. She would never bite anybody. She just likes to bark when people come to the door. But this is different than that. These people are going to bite you. You ever had that happen? Defensiveness, attack. One of my favorite verses, and collection of verses, is throughout the book of Proverbs. There's a kind of behavior talked about as foolish behavior or mocking behavior. And it has a lot of verses that say things like, if you confront a mocker, if you confront a wise person, they'll listen and they'll thank you for it and they'll be grateful. You confront somebody who really is open, you go, oh my gosh, I stepped on your toe, or I was late and that ruined your hope. I am so sorry. Thank you for telling me. I really appreciate that. I'll do better. See, a wise person will listen to you and be grateful for you that you told them, and they'll improve. And the verses, here's what they say. They say, confront, correct, rebuke, whatever word you use, but correct a wise person and they'll be grateful for it. And they'll get better and they'll change. They'll become wiser. And then it says, confront a fool or a mocker and they will hate you for it. Number one, they will cast insults upon you. And it goes through this whole list of bad things that can happen. Well, that's how a hijacking happens of your confrontation. All of a sudden, you're talking about something else besides the problem. And generally, they take it down 86,000 other issues, none of which are in the room. And when the problem's not in the room, what the hell can we do about it? See, now they've externalized it. Well, it's this person, it's the marketing department, or it's, blah, blah, blah. It's never them, right? That's how confrontations usually get hijacked. Or they may go victim on you. Well, I guess I just don't ever do anything right. And I guess, as much as I've tried, nobody really appreciates it. And I guess fine. I'm just not gonna try anymore because you guys are so. Now we're talking about poor them, right? And now the invitation is to go back over and no, I'm not saying that, and But the confrontation has been hijacked. All you were doing was asking her to, you know, not keep the flour next to the rat poison in the cupboard when you're making cookies. That's all I'm asking here. I know you try really hard and give a lot to baking cookies for us, but the rat poison kind of is a sort of something we really don't want in there, especially for the children. Could we talk about that? There's an issue on the table and it gets hijacked. So if you have ever experienced that, defensiveness, externalization, anger back at you, changing the topic, shooting the messenger, let me give you a couple of ways to handle that today. Here's one. When they do that, go, "Oh, I'm sorry. Were you wanting to talk about me? I wanted to talk about, you know, how you're handling, meeting the deadlines and this, that, and the other, and how it's affecting me. It sounds like you want to talk about my behavior. Okay, well, why don't we do this? Let's just set talking about you aside for a moment, and then we'll get back to that because I do want to get back to that. But let me know kind of, what do you want to say about me first? Okay. See, what have I done here? I'm not letting them get away with what they're trying to do is make the issue go away. We're not going to do that. We're going to say, that's fine. If you want to talk about me, I'm perfectly willing to hear anything that you want me to do differently. But we will get back to the other one. Okay. That's one thing you can do. How about this one? Oh, so it sounds like you're wanting to talk about me. You know what? I'll be glad to. And we can schedule a time for that. But right now, what I want to talk about, and the only thing I want to talk about right now is how we can meet this deadline better, or how we can have a conversation without you yelling at me, or whatever it is. Okay. So acknowledge, say, I can see why that's important to you, empathize with it. And I'd love to talk about that. But right now, I want to stick to this. We can talk about that, another time. Here's another one. When they come at you, if you go to the Art of Confrontation webinar, you can go to boundaries.me/confront to find that. When they come at you, one thing that you can do is really surprise them by turning into Mr. or Miss or Mrs. Empathy. Oh, really? It was so you don't feel like you got what you need from me in order to do what we needed from you. Well, that must have been really frustrating. Tell me more about that. And just join them and just empathize with them. Because you keep pulling at that thread, and ultimately, you're going to get to the end of as far as we can go. Okay, so I hear you. You need this from me in order for you to be nice. Okay, I can do that. Now, here's your next move. So you're telling me that if I get it to you in time, or if I come in and I bring up this topic, not when you walk in the door, but an hour later, then you won't scream at me anymore. Is that what you're saying? If I do this, then you'll do what I need from you. Am I understanding you right? See, I followed it all the way down to the end of the trail. These are their words. I'm agreeing with them. You're saying if I don't do this, then you won't start screaming at me? Great. Wow, problem solved. I can do that. But let me ask you one question, Joey. If I do that, and you're still late, or if I do that, and you start screaming at me, or if I do that, or if we do that or whatever, or if you're, we arrange the schedule a bit so you're not overstressed and you stop drinking and you don't stop drinking. Yeah, like that's going to happen, right? What do you want to do then? Let's get an expectation on, if I do these things that are going to make your behavior change, something wrong with that sentence, right? Then, and it doesn't, then what's our next step? Because I don't want us to be lost at that point. So now you're going to take the hijacking and you're going to go on the alternate trip with them. And you're going to get an agreement. What, you said we're going to Denver, but now we're going to New York. You're saying if we go to New York, the problem will be solved. That's great. Perfect. If the problem gets solved, wonderful. But what do we do if it doesn't? I just want to have a plan. So now you're not going to let the hijacking end up ruining the purpose. And there's one more tip for you. You could do this. You could say, you know what? It seems like bringing this topic up is a hard thing for you to talk about. If that's the case, I don't want to do what we're doing now. I don't want to try to solve a problem and, you continue to yell at me or tell me everything wrong with me and everybody else. I want to talk about the problem. So we won't continue this now. Would it help if I brought it up at another time after you've had some time to think about it? Would it help if we brought a third person in? Because here's what I need from you. I need to know, is there a way that I can give you feedback and it not feel like I'm attacking you? We're on the same team here. I'm for you. So can you give me a way to do this where we can actually talk about this and it doesn't feel bad to you? Can you give me that? Okay, so there's just kind of a few things that go into maybe getting to a better place. Sometimes they end up with somebody just can't hear anything, and that's where you go to the next stages of confrontation and limit setting and consequences and leverage and moving people to some sort of workable place through using the right kind of leverage. If you're interested in that, go to boundaries.me/confront, and we have a whole webinar there on this. Anyway, it happens. It really, really happens, and it will happen a lot because there have been, since biblical times, there have been people that don't want to hear feedback, and obviously humans. And I mean, I know I've been bad about this at times in my life, and every time I've had to learn this, I have to kind of, crap, I can't believe it. What I'm doing is really defensive and I'm not listening and all that. And, it's a learning thing. So it's going to happen. It's going to happen.